What up, nation? Welcome to another edition, a new edition, a special edition of the WiseTake NBA Wise stream. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013, and I'm joined, as usual, by the GOAT, the true OG, Paulie D. You can find him on Twitter at Paulie with 8 Ds. Paulie doing a little something special for the nation, a little trial. Hopefully we get some feedback on this. Real quick, if you're watching on YouTube, those of you who are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, hit the notifications bell so you're notified whenever we do go live or put out content. We put a lot of free DFS content on this channel. And go check us out at WiseTake.com to support and join one of the best DFS communities in the game, the WiseTake Nation. And hit the like button, guys. Hit the like button. So real quick, Paulie and I have decided to do something a little bit different. We took a little poll in the Slack chat with some of the WiseTake Nation core members. And I think a lot of people were interested in having a show that's starting later and kind of leading into lock. So this is the first time we're going to try this. We're going to, hopefully get some feedback from everybody and see what they think, if this is more beneficial to them. With that said, Paulie, welcome. And how you doing, bro?
Yeah, doing good. I think the biggest benefit to doing this show this way is that I feel that a lot of times the live stream from 5 to 6, the stuff we talk about becomes irrelevant due to news that comes out. And most of the news comes between 6 and 7 for the most part. So, we can kind of give you more, live, real-time information that'll impact the slate versus a lot of times talking about stuff and it's like wasted air because something happens and, the entire complexion of the slate changes because it's a mid-tier build, and then, 2 guys get ruled out, and we have all this value, and now it's changed. And people we liked, we don't, and we can kind of walk you through, show you our process, how, we build our teams, get exposures, discuss those things, and, kind of follow along as you build your team. So I hope this is a cool show, and I hope people like it, but we'll find out, I guess.
We'll find out, man. You never know until you try, right? And as always, anything we can do to help our members, anything we can do to help the WiseTake Nation, we're gonna do. We're gonna try. We've been in the first industry for a lot of different things, man. We have, because we're always constantly trying to innovate the best way we can to help our team. With that said, Paulie, we're gonna try to still do somewhat of a breakdown. I know I think the main emphasis of doing the show late is, like you said, to be able to react to the news, and you and I, even after the shows, we end up a lot of times staying on the phone or whatever and discussing different things, just ideas, bouncing ideas off each other and getting each other's opinion anyway. So we figured, why not just do that live and instead. Yeah. So I'm with it. I guess we'll start with point guard as we usually do. Talk to me about some of the point guards. I guess we could really split it up into 2 tiers. Guys you're interested in, and guys you're really, just talk about that. So
okay. Well, what stuck out to me when I first started breaking down the position is point guard's very deep on DraftKings. Some of these guys are shooting guards, the multiple position eligibility, but there's a couple guys up top we can talk about, but I think the mid-tier, the balanced, is the strongest point, and we do have some really ridiculously good value on the slate, and then some additional I don't want to call it good value because it's risky, but there's some super cheap stuff out there that is going to get minutes, and that would usually point us to a stars and scrubs build. But the more I look at this slate, the more I like the mid-tier, and it may be, using that value to get 6 guys from 7 to 8K, with the 2 value plays instead of a bunch of 5K guys with Harden and the 2 value plays. So, at the top, I do like Russ Westbrook and I do like James Harden. I always am going to favor Harden over Westbrook. I don't care about the price difference. We have the value to fit Harden no problem with Gordon Hayward. And, I'll probably get 25% exposure to Harden, 10% exposure to Westbrook. Then we got this mid-tier that's, pretty interesting to me. Kemba Walker, D'Angelo Russell, Malcolm Brogdon, Chris Paul, Ricky Rubio, and Kyle Lowry. I'll stop it there. Kyle Lowry, even though it's a back-to-back, it's a nut matchup. And he's probably going to be missing Fred VanVleet, which is one of the bigger news points we're waiting on. At 6-8, you got a price reduction. Of course, the blowout is a risk, but they're on a back-to-back and they're on the road, so I think at 6-8, Kyle Lowry, if they do smack Chicago, he's getting there anyway, especially if Van Vliet's out. Chris Paul, since what's his name? Terrence Ferguson and Hamidou Diallo have been out. His usage has gone up. He's had like multiple good games in a row. 50-point outbursts. The usage is all of a sudden up over 25% in back-to-back games. And when they're close, he gets upwards of like 37, 39 minutes. So, Chris Paul at 7-2, as long as the game stays close, right? And against Utah, you would think this is a competitive matchup, right? Like, he seems to have upside in his price. Like, he can go for 50, flirt with a triple-double, and, bring back a lot of return on his price. Same kind of goes for Malcolm Brogdon against the Clippers, who are also on a back-to-back and without Kawhi Leonard. So I got interest there. I like D'Angelo Russell as like a low-owned smash upside kind of play. Like, before he got hurt, the guy was getting, high 30s in minutes, and the usage was Harden-like. Since coming back, he's only played 2 games. He played 25 and 29 minutes. The usage is only 31-21, but I want to be over the field, which isn't hard. But at 7-7, if he goes off for like one of those 50-plus point games with the high usage at 5%, that could be like a tournament winning play. I like him quite a bit. And then Kemba against Cleveland, it's if the game stays close, he's gonna crush, as point guards are crushing Cleveland again with Colin Sexton, returning to his role, pretty much starting and playing big minutes. So Ricky Rubio versus former team at 7K. You got Jrue Holiday at 71. It's just really deep in the mid-tier. And we don't have a ton of value. I think Colin Sexton at 53 is worth a look. I like the usage, and scoring guards have done well against Boston. Lonzo Ball at 5,200 against the Pistons, I absolutely love. Don't mind DeAnthony Melton against Golden State. Jared Culver for Minnesota is another guy I got some interest in, depending on Wiggins' status and Teague's status. That, how much I like Culver could really swing dramatically based on Teague, Wiggins, and even Shabazz Napier, who I think is one of the more interesting value plays. Looked really good last night against the Lakers, got additional minutes. After that, Kobe White's questionable, but if he plays at 4,400, I could get into some of that. And, Bruce Brown's pretty cheap for the Pistons. I like that game. I think there could be good minutes and upside potential because of the pace. And then if you wanted to, you could take a stab at Emmanuel Mudiay, who finally got minutes, but now his price is up to 4,100. But finally at least got to play with what's his name out? No. Who's the dude that's out? Oh, Mike Conley. Also, Brad Wanamaker from Celtics with Marcus Smart out. It's thin. I don't think we need to do that on this slate. There's better value, but, doing 150 teams, I like just getting 5% exposure to guys. At first, I was kind of resistant to that, but we got the "it just takes one" motto pretty much for MME, and maybe they blow out Cleveland and he gets additional minutes, and he's aggressive when he's in those kind of situations. So I think he's worth playing too with Smart out.
Yeah, I think to kind of reiterate your said, guys, the mid-range, even though there's a lot of value that has opened up on DraftKings with Gordon Hayward and all these other players, I still find myself liking more of a balanced build. I'm not saying I'm not going to play the value, I am. But like you said, instead of getting a Harden and a Giannis together, maybe I'll get another, 2 or 3 extra mid-tier guys that I like. So that's kind of the path that I'm heading down as well. And I think that range is pretty deep. The pricing is still pretty sharp in that area. The one play, Gordon Hayward, was just they fell asleep at the wheel, with that one. But Aside, and Kyle Lowry too, right? Can we talk about that for a second? What the hell? Like Kyle Lowry's averaging 40 DraftKings points a game, and then DraftKings decides FanDuel kept him at like 8K, which is what you would expect. DraftKings decided to lower him, which was just insane.
With Fred VanVleet potentially out, and
Right.
against a weak opponent, and he just like I don't get it. I don't get the price decrease at all.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either, and I will have a good amount of Lowry. It's hard to argue. If Van Fleet is out, I'll like it even more. But even with Van Fleet there, he's cheaper than Van Fleet now, and Van Fleet's good. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying like at least make him the same. It's just weird, It's just like it just seems like a mistake. They lowered his price drastically, so I expect him to be pretty popular. He's not projecting to be that popular, but I expect him to be more popular than he's projecting because I'm sure he's projecting well for most people in terms of like projection systems, optimizers, all that kind of stuff. So I'll have a good amount of Lowry. I think Derrick Rose is interesting on both sites in that mid-range section as well because he's priced the same as he always is. And he pretty much like goes for 30 pretty often as far as fantasy points goes. So that's good enough. Now you factor in he's getting a pace bump when he's on the court against a team that's just terrible defensively. I don't know if he's my favorite player from that game or even that team, but he's somebody that I'm interested in a little bit more on FanDuel, but I like him. You had mentioned Ricky Rubio and Lonzo Ball. I think both those guys I'm gonna make sure to grab some exposure to. I think they're both in pretty good games. You had asked me before the show what my favorite game was, and I really don't know. Like I like a lot of these games, so grabbing pieces that I like the most from each of these games is probably how I go around it. And then like I kind of skipped around, but I guess Westbrook is somebody that like right before the show I don't know. I was just like, do you like Westbrook, man? Like, it's like he's finally low owned all the time. He's finally been smashing. It's not the same Kings, and he's gonna have the toughest matchup on the board. Corey Joseph, who's is probably the best defender they have on that starting unit, aside from maybe Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes used to be a good defender, anyway. But Corey Joseph, like that's his like forte, is defense. Are you interested in Russell Westbrook?
A tad, because I don't think Sacramento offers a ton of resistance.
Right. Like rebounds, all that other stuff.
Yeah, but with his price at 9.6, he really has to smash, and he hasn't gone over 60, I think, more than twice this year. Actually, I should take that back. Those are preseason, so yeah, he's gone over 60 twice, right? Like, I feel like it's more trappy than anything. He hit 10 shots yesterday. He got the triple-double in bigger minutes. Harden was struggling. The game before that, Toronto put the double team on Harden and kind of took him out of the game, and he still only went for like 56 in a pretty tight game. So I'm not that into him. I said 10%. I might even go lower than that, like 20, like 5, because I don't really like the high end, and if I am going up there, he's literally like the last of all the guys above like 9K.
Yeah, when you consider like Kat and Giannis and all the other guys, yeah.
Well,
yeah, I agree. But that's probably somebody I'll have some of, but I'm not gonna, I respect the ownership probably will be low on him, but I just like some of these other guys a little bit more. I'm with you. Last guy I wanted to ask you about, I lowered his exposure a little because of the hand, but Malcolm Brogdon is like he's fairly cheap on DraftKings at least. He's another one that like I have him projected like to do well. He's got a hand injury, like he's missed time for it. I don't know how significant it is or what the deal is. He's also gonna have Patrick Beverley to deal with. Where are you at with Brogdon?
I like the matchup. I know Pat Bev's a decent defender, but he gets there like all sorts of ways. And I like the pace of the game. They're getting paced up, but I do like a bunch of players more than him, and like a tad concerned that they don't hang.
Yeah, no, I get that. All right, what about value? Is there any value guards, point guard or?
I touched on them, right? You got it's mostly thin value. Like Lonzo Ball, like a 5.2 is probably my favorite. Chris Dunn, especially if White gets ruled out for the Bulls. Bruce Brown Jr., 4,200, going to get a ton of minutes against the Pelicans, like getting paced way up. That I don't mind. And then like Brad Wanamaker against Cleveland, I touched on, like, say Boston blows them out, he could get additional run. He's 3,800. He's probably already going to be in the rotation because of Smart. None of these guys I'm getting high exposure to. And then Jarrett Culver, depending what we hear coming out of Minnesota.
I'm pretty much with you for the most part. I didn't see a ton down there that I was really excited about. I'm sure I'll end up with some of these guys. The upside ones I'm always a little interested in, like Colby White. We know his minutes are subject. He's been dealing with a little nagging injury, but we expect him to play, and he's got upside. But there's nobody here that I'm like, dying to get a piece of, I don't think. With that said, let's go over to shooting guards. Who are some of the guys you're liking over there?
All right, so I already said I'm going to get 15 to 20 a Harden. Devin Booker is all of a sudden balling out. But the price is coming up, 8,500. He's kind of scoring like dependent. He'll get a couple rebounds. Sometimes he pops in assists, but I expect that number to kind of be low, with Rubio out there. So he's going to have to shoot well. I think the volume will be there. I think, it's a good opponent. It's like Booker I'll have with other Timberwolves, not so much as like a one-off player. Like, I think I'm going to put in a rule like, Devin Booker, with, at least one or two of these three guys, and say like Cat, and then depending what kind of news we get on Minnesota, if we get it, who those people are, Covington, Napier, Teague, something like that. But I don't see him as a one-off player. I kind of prefer the other players from his team. Moving on, Donovan Mitchell I like a lot at 74 against OKC.
I like him a lot too. I was hoping, I didn't want to say it. I wanted you to say it. I wanted you to say it first so I could see where I'm at with that.
Yeah, that price is too low with no Conley. The minutes should be up as long as the game is close, which this one I think will be close. OKC's been playing kind of fast and not very big. I do like Donovan Mitchell at 7-4. Like, he's just like very like GPP-esque. Like, he's either goes for like 55 plus or like 38s and disappoints. But now with 38, really wouldn't even kill you. It's not going to win you a GPP, but you'll still min cash with it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with no Gallinari, the usage is going to pop. And he's just kind of the guy who will take a high volume of shots for that team. So this game's close, going back and forth. He's going to take a lot of shots, and he's just an excellent rebounder, so he'll be needed to contribute there. And with Gallo out, he'll probably get a couple more. I do like him at 6-6. Lou Williams with no Kawhi, playing Indiana. I'm going to see like Jeremy Lamb or TJ Warren D, like give me some of that, or TJ McConnell D, depending. I do like Joe Ingles. I'm just probably going to like everybody from Utah in the starting lineup with no Conley. Buddy Hield is, decent at 7-1, although with Bogdanovich back, not as into it. But when he's hot shooting, he'll go for 50. So he's a guy like I'll get 5% up. That's really kind of it in the mid tier.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell. Sorry for the keyboard. I forgot I didn't mute my mic. But Donovan Mitchell, I like a lot. I think that he's been chalky on these smaller slates because Conley's out, and he hasn't performed because his team's either getting blown out or they're doing the blowing. For whatever reason, it's just not. He hasn't been capable. But his usage rate is in the 30s. Like, he's still like. And DraftKings hasn't raised his price because I guess the performance. But now we're on a slate where he's becoming like an afterthought, I think. I haven't heard too many people talk about Mitchell. And, not that history is everything and every circumstance is different. Teams were different year to year. I understand that. But he's got just a dirty history of just doing these guys dirty. Last season, like, He had one bad game against Oklahoma City. Again, it's a different team,
Yeah.
but he went for 55 earlier this year against Oklahoma City. So the usage rate's in the 30s. It's like, what's not to like? I mean, now Gallinari's out, even in the playing field. Maybe we get a close game, Paulie. Maybe we get a close game and we're rewarded, and Donovan Mitchell does the dirty. You know what I mean? Maybe.
I'm with it.
I do think that, SGA and Schroeder and these guys are worth a look. Schroeder I like a little bit more on FanDuel. I think he's like 5'9" or something like that. The usage of him for him has been great. I would imagine he's gonna see he should get like a starter's role of minutes tonight, because I can see them just sliding Shea down a little bit and doing what they got to do. But I expect all three of those guards, Paul, Schroeder, and Shea, to get a good amount of time out there. Aside from that, Lou Williams, I have some interest in. I'm surprised at some of the minute projections I've seen across a few places, projecting him for like 29 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't see how, if this is, unless it's not a close game, I don't see how Lou doesn't benefit. JaMychal Green is out, and Kawhi Leonard. I understand Paul George is there, but I think Lou gets more like 32-ish. And if that's the case, he should project well. And we know he's got massive upside. So not a guy that I'm willing to stamp on, because there's so many guys like Kyle Lowry. There's just so many guards in general. But I think Lou Williams is definitely a guy I'll have a good amount of exposure to make sure I get some. With that said, what about the guys like lower down? Any value guys at this position?
Yeah, there's not a ton, but I do like Jordan Clarkson. I do like Josh Okogie. He started yesterday, even though everyone was back, played well when he was on the court. I think they're going to continue to play him. I think they like him. He was kind of like their star player, him and Keita Bates in the summer league. And, I just for his defense alone, and, he's aggressive when he's on the court on that second unit. That's it. Like Terrence Ross, he's like 5'1". You can always take a shot on, against Milwaukee, a team that invites the three. But it's not that exciting.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. The one guy I'll say, and we could say him at small forward also, but I think on FanDuel, FanDuel's not even value. He's a mid-range play, but I am interested in Bogdanovic. He hasn't played well since his little hamstring injury, and then it turned into a knee injury, and now he's just sore every day. But I think he gets up. His price has dropped dramatically on DraftKings. He's like 4,800. And I don't know. I feel like he's going to get up for a game like this. It's a possibility this game gets blown out. With bench players, the six-man type roles, they're the ones that really get screwed in these types of situations, because they're the ones that actually get cut out. So, they miss an entire rotation when this stuff happens. But if this game does stay close, I would imagine that this dude has a big role. Like, I don't see Buddy Hield doing it by himself. I'll have some Buddy Hield. I didn't talk about it much up top. I'll have some Buddy Hield because of that game in general, just wanting exposure. But I like Bogdanovic, man, for 4,800. Again, kind of like it's value, but it's mid-tier type value. It's not value that's going to help you get Giannis and Harden together. It's value that's going to help you get that extra mid-tier player. So I'm with it. Let's go over to small forwards, Paulie. It's a fairly deep position between Giannis, Ingram, Kawhi Leonard. Paul George. There's a lot of guys here. Talk to me about the ones you like the most.
Yeah, so, Giannis is just at 11-3, worth getting. I'm certainly concerned about the game staying close, but outside of that concern, and I don't really want to predict blowouts. I'll get some exposure. But Paul George is going to be very popular with no Kawhi. I get it. I'll get some. I like Kelly Oubre. Could be into Covington, depending on what news we get out of Minnesota. That's kind of it at small forward. What you got?
Yeah, man. I think I like Ingram. I like Paul George. He's more the optimal one. He's somebody I'll have the most of. Paul George is the one I'll have the most of, right? It's optimal on DraftKings. He's cheap. Everything works out. I do like Ingram. I'll probably be somewhere around 30% on Ingram. Lower than Paul George, but still significant in terms of comparing to some of the other players. It's a good spot, I think. Now, what's interesting is the starting lineup just came out I was just actually showing that on the screen, but the starting lineup had come out for the Pelicans, and Jahlil Okafor and Kenrich Williams will start ahead of Jackson Hayes and Lonzo Ball. So Lonzo Ball is not going to start this game, which is interesting. I think that's obviously a boost for someone like Jrue Holiday. That means I would assume he's going to start off in the ball handling role. What do you think that means for Ingram? I would think that's a good thing, right? Like, Ball is a guy that typically distributes more. Ingram more of an ISO type player that's give me the ball, get out my way kind of thing. What do you think?
Who did you say was going to start? Kenrich and Jahlil Okafor?
Over Hayes and Ball. So I would think Jrue Holiday at the 1, Kenrich and, or Ingram at the, right? Like,
Jahlil Okafor is 3,400 and Kenrich is cheap too. I don't have him right in front of me, but I think, number one, you're going to have to get some exposure to Okafor, because when he does get minutes, the guy can really do dirties, and I'm guessing they need his size for Drummond, right? Kenrich Williams is a supreme rebounder, and they're probably thinking I need his defense for Griffin, right? So they're probably going to see a lot of minutes because those guys play a ton of minutes for Detroit. And then, Ball takes a lot of shots. I don't know if he hits a ton, but he does take a lot, and Ball doesn't really facilitate much for Ingram, like you said. So, I think that gives a boost for Ingram on top of the fact that small forwards kind of kill Detroit. So that makes me like Ingram more as well.
Yeah, with that said, what I forgot to mention is Derek Favors has been ruled out. So,
okay, yeah.
So just to kind of add to the situation there. But, yeah, I agree with you. I think Okafor and Holiday is someone I just raised Holiday's projection a little bit, just a boost, just a little smidge, just to make sure that I go get me some. There's a lot on this slate, but Holiday and I think it's even better for Ingram. So I'm gonna stand where I was, play that game after we do this breakdown. But yeah, I like them. Siakam and these guys I'm a little higher on these guys as a priority. I do like Siakam against Chicago, but these two to me, Ingram and Paul George, are a little bit more of a priority. For me today, I'll have Giannis probably around 20% or so. I don't want to miss out. If he does finally get a close game, I don't want to miss out. And this is like without Vooch, there's nobody to stretch the court in terms of the bigs. Giannis could just destroy these guys, but.
Do you see Orlando playing Kem Birch more, or maybe using Mo Bamba as Kem Birch to guard Giannis, or maybe that's Gordon, but rim protection to try to
I think maybe they'll put Isaac on him, right?
Yeah, that's possible too.
He is their best defender.
I'm talking about just a secondary level at the rim, because Giannis does do a lot of penetrating.
I don't know. I feel like they'll just let it slide with maybe. Well. They'll probably just play Gordon, Isaac, and then Bert. We talked about this before. I think Mo Bamba would be the starter. It's just he's on that minutes limitation shit. For whatever reason, they're babying him. But I don't think Birch is. I think Birch is there because they have nobody else. I think it's the only reason Birch is there, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a great spot, but again, they're 14-point favorites again. Maybe Milwaukee doesn't get us up for this game because it's just Orlando. It's not like They just blew out the Clippers. How many times do you see a team, just whoop this team's ass and lose to, look at the Houston Texans in the NFL, right? They just beat the Patriots and came in and lost to Denver. It's like, certain games you get up for, certain games it's just a game, and you're still just a game. But talk to me about some of the value guys, 30s and 7s.
All right, so Gordon Hayward, just might as well get this out of the way. He's 3K. I've heard it's going to be around 20 minutes against Cleveland. It's just so nutted. The guy was, their best player while he was healthy. He was doing everything. The usage was high. He was flirting with triple doubles. Min price is just a joke. He's going to be 70% owned, and I don't see really any reason not to at least get at the field, because 21 is 7x. You just need that, and if he does any more, you'll be dead without him, right? And if he kind of sucks, those 30% of your lineups without, I think is enough. If he does bust, to have some protection, but you're still going to cash most of your lineups with him in it, because he's going to allow you to get a ton of shit that's better, and everyone's going to have him, so everyone's going to be busting with it. You just got to play a lot of Gordon Hayward today. Bogdanovich from the Kings, I like. OG Anunoby went for like almost 50 yesterday. And then we got like Abdel Nader with no Danilo Gallinari. He's already into the starting lineup because Ferguson was out. The usage is around 20. He's cheap. You got to play some of that as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think on a lot of that. So you talked about Hayward on DraftKings 3K. On FanDuel he's 6K. He's going to be lower owned there, but you're obviously not. That's it. Gordon Hayward's not like a big deal over there, right? It's on DraftKings where he's been priced, and because they didn't realize and keep track of his status. So I agree with you. He's going to be high owned. I'll probably try to match the field, maybe be a little overweight. It's just hard to see even in 20 minutes, and he can go out there and put up a 17, but that 17 doesn't kill you like it did when he was, fucking where he's supposed to be price wise. At 3K, it's 17. It's like it's not great. You're not thrilled. You'd like to get to 24 anyway, just for ceiling purposes, but. I mean, even if it gets to 17, it's like it's not terrible. Like it's just so yeah, I'm with you on that. You mentioned Nader. Nader seemed like he gets so far this season, small sample. He's gotten a usage bump with Gallo off the court about around 20%, but he's not that big on the peripherals. So I think it's a debate between him and Basley. I think it's sight factors in, but I like Basley more for the record. We'll talk about that at Power Forward, I guess, but. Nader, sure, definitely in the equation on both sides. So FanDuel even more so. He's been priced on FanDuel. That can come in handy. But I expect him to take some shots. I mean, Gallinari, that's a lot of minutes to fill, and they're already thin. No Hamidou Diallo, they're already missing guys. No Roberson. So some of these guys are going to have to play today for me.
Yep.
Plays.
Yep.
Paulie, let's go to power forwards. What you seeing?
So we got Siakam and Ingram at the top that are going to be popular for good reasons. Ray talked about Ingram and Siakam at 7-9 in a great matchup. I like that. I do think Lauri Markkanen's starting to wake up, so I want to get some exposure to him while he's still cheap. And, I like the bigs from Indiana. If that game stays close, it's most likely because Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner are doing well. Also, don't mind Bojan Bogdanovich.
Bojan. I like Bojan too, man. That whole Memphis situation. These are guys that ownership was like it's been high this whole time, and guys are finally sick of it, and the slates are whatever. But I like Bojan, man, and without Gallinari, I mean, I think matchup wise, there's a big size difference between Gallinari and who plays center at times for certain parts of his career to like Basley, who's like 6'8". You know what I mean? So Gallinari is also kind of thick for you know what I mean? He's not particularly jacked or anything. He just looks like a big bone maybe. He doesn't look. He's like a fat guy. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? He doesn't look as like skinny as some of the tall dudes out there. Some of the, you know what I'm saying? Some of the tall dudes out there like real lanky looking and like real thin looking. He looks like a regular guy that's just tall. You know, just like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think this place, the mid tier was a little more spread. Bojan is probably like Bojan, and I guess outside of the guys we already talked about, Sabonis are the guys that I'm kind of interested in. We mentioned wanting some Ibaka, but outside of people we've already talked about, that's pretty much it for this mid range. Because I'm so heavily vested in Hayward and George and Ingram, and that's just how that goes. But I'm okay with Sabonis. What about value options?
Value. All right.
And Birch, by the way, the Magic starting lineup is out. It's Fultz, Fournier, Gordon, Isaac, Birch. So they did not make a change to the starting lineup.
Yeah, so Darius Basley and Serge Ibaka, the main guys I'm going to be playing for value, along with Gordon Hayward, who's going to take up a huge chunk of that forward value for me.
Yeah, man. How much are you looking to play him? Like roughly. Give me like a range. You're not going to know until we get all the news, but give me a range.
Yeah. 75%.
Yeah.
75 to 80. Like 70 to 80.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep. DraftKings. Sims.
Yeah. What's his price on FanDuel?
$6K.
Yeah. That's like not even worth it.
No, he's irrelevant. The people on FanDuel are sitting here like, why the fuck is everybody talking about Gordon Hayward all day? You know what I mean? They're sitting here like, what the hell's a big deal? He's limited on minutes. Who cares? No doubt about it. Where are you at with Basley, man?
Yeah, Mint Price, dude, this kid balled out in the preseason. I think he was a first round pick, if not first, second. With no Gallinari, that's a lot of usage. And like, yeah, Schroeder and Chris Paul and whatnot are going to pick it up, but somebody on the second unit is going to have to do some dirties. I'm curious to see what their starting lineup looks like, and I've seen this kid ball the fuck out. Like, he can go off, if he gets the usage. And, I'm more excited about him and Mint Price than Nader, even though numbers kind of say to go to Nader. I think this, Gallinari being out is enough to kind of get him the usage that will make him pop. And he doesn't need to do fucking much at Mint Price, so I do like him.
Yeah, I like him too. Like you said, because of the Mint Price factor. I like him on both sides. Anytime, it's one thing we always talk about, Paulie. Anytime somebody's been moved closer to the basket, it's typically a good thing for fantasy production, right? He should get more rebounds. Now, are you concerned at all that at some points in this game we see Noel at the 4 if they're struggling for rebounds? Because Bazley's like 6'8", Nader's like 6'5". So you got Adams, who's a big dude, but after that, you don't have a ton of size.
Yeah, I mean, no, because Utah doesn't have much size.
Bojan most of the time.
Bojan plays the 4,
right.
So not really. I think Noel's going to just play the backup 5, get his 20-25 minutes like he's been getting. And, that's so it's more so why I do like Bazley.
Yeah, I'm with you. Closer to the basket, he should get shots closer. I'm getting a little bit of an echo. I think I got to lower the volume and drop. It wasn't before I needed to touch nothing, but ish happens. No explanations. They just happen. With that said, yeah, I'm with you on Bazley. How much relative to Hayward are you going to have of Bazley? Like Hayward, I'm with you, but not as much Bazley.
20, 25,
Yeah.
20, I mean,
at the end of the day, he's still Bazley. He's still in this offense,
right.
He's still not the usage guy. The usage guys we know are Schroeder, Paul,
Yeah, and even, Noel can do so much in so little time. Like, right. And he's not that much more. Like, I'll just play Noel.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. On FanDuel, I'm a little more inclined to go heavier because of the Mint Price. But then it's a debate, him or Nader. But the Mint Price over there, the fact that everybody's already kind of priced up and it's really hard to go balanced and feel good about your team on FanDuel a lot of times. So, like, truly balanced. So I'll say that. As far as other power forwards, Serge Ibaka, I do like. I want Van Vliet to be out. He played 28 minutes last night, but that's 7 minutes more than he was playing. But I think that was because Fred VanVleet was obviously out. So I think they will play Ibaka with Gasol if they have to, but only there we go. Fred VanVleet has been ruled out. So ask and you shall receive. By the way, Paulie, I'm mixing in these screens, so it's one screen is me and you, one screen is you, and then another screen is the Slack chat. So I show the injury feed coming up on the page.
That's pretty fucking cool.
There we go.
I also noticed White is ruled in for the Bulls.
Yes, White is ruled in. Favors out. VanVleet ruled out. So plus for Lowry, I'm going to raise Ibaka now because I think we'll see more of that.
Yeah, and Ibaka, Anunoby, and Powell all getting a boost.
They all get a boost.
And if you didn't like Lowry before, I don't know what to tell you, but hopefully you like him now.
30s and 7s. Paulie, take us over to centers, man.
Yeah, and it's 6:40, so we going to run through. There's not much at center. I mean, we got Cat and Drummond up top. I love Drummond's game, and I like Cat's game. Those two better games on the slate. Looks like we just got some news. Clint Capella is underpriced and in a great spot against Sacramento. Joval's been going nuts. I'm gonna get some of him. You pointed out Miles Turner to me, and I do really like that. I like bigs against the Clippers, and he's crazy cheap. And for value, it's just Nerlens Noel and a little bit of Enes Kanter, although, you don't need to get much more than 5% of that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You had mentioned Turner already as one of the cheaper options. I do like the guys up top. I tend to like. I forgot to talk about Blake, but I tend to like Blake over Drummond. I think just the price difference. I do like that game, and I because I like Blake a little bit more. I'm not gonna have as much Drummond. I'll have some Cat Capella. I like. He'll be one of my highest exposed centers. After that, Tristan Thompson I think is interesting. Probably around a 15% or so. Miles Turner is somebody that I'm tempted to go heavier than I should. He's going to be lower owned, so I don't think I have to go that heavy, but I'm tempted to because this is just a nut spot.
Like tempted to go how high?
Like like even if as bad as Turner's been this year, if I go like 20, like if I make him another like 30%er, right? I got 2 centers right now that are in the 30s. That's it, just 2. Like I'm tempted to make him a third. That would eliminate a lot of my other exposures to these other guys, but I don't love a lot of these other ones. Like Joe Val's a guy that like you're throwing around, you can see it. He got in foul trouble last time against Golden State for whatever reason.
I mean, that's got to be
variance.
Variance, yeah.
Smash spot, smash central. God damn it, I'm getting that echo, man.
I don't know what to tell you.
Echo City. Can you lower my volume? Because that's what it, essentially it's coming in through the mic.
I'm on it.
One other guy that I don't think I have too much of. Montrezl Harrell, any interest?
Little bit.
With that said, we'll hang out. We'll at this point we're just gonna go straight to like reactions. We'll try to take some questions in between. So if we don't get to your questions, we're not promising them because we're literally getting our teams ready and tweaking our stuff at the same time. We're just gonna lead you guys into lock. So that's the whole point of the show. So
the one thing I didn't consider is that how Skype slows down your computer so much. Like I got 171 teams. And I hit crunch at 6:34, and I still have 3 left.
Wonderful.
9-minute crunch.
Oh my gosh!
Like
9-minute crunch.
Yeah. It took like a minute to get the first 8 teams, and I was like doing the math in my head. I was like 8 teams per minute, 161. That's 20 minutes. I'm gonna miss.
Why don't you just switch to your phone? Like use Skype on your phone.
That's what I will be doing in the future, but. My phone has a
Norman Powell will start for injured Fred VanVleet. Pacers will start Brogdon, Lamb, Warren, Sabonis, Turner. So yeah, we knew that already. Sucking on. What? Sevens. Oh, okay. It really is just.
So you mentioned you have 2 centers at 30%. Yeah. I have 3 players over 30% on the whole slate, and one's obviously Gordon Hayward. Like. I feel like this is such a balanced slate. There's so many games I like. Like, I'm really, extremely balanced, more so than I ever am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely balanced. I just think like between like Mitchell, like some of these guys that I have higher exposure to. By the way, guys, if you are watching, if you are subscribed to the WiseTake Nation, Paulie's cheat sheet is up for DraftKings, Cam's is up for FanDuel, Stevie Brown has the slate breakdown up. All the NBA content is out. My core plays article is out. So go check it if you haven't.
Who are like, top 5 highest exposed guys you're rolling with?
My top 5 as of now. I have to do another one because I had to take out Fred VanVleet, but Hayward, for sure. Hayward, Lowry, Donovan Mitchell, and Paul George will probably be my highest owned guys. Maybe Bogdanovich on that list from like Sacramento, but that's more of like me. Like, I don't have to be that high. He doesn't appear to be that popular, so I don't have to be that high on him. I could be at 30% and 20% and still, like, be well over the field. I just, I get stubborn sometimes.
Yeah, I feel you.
What about you? What are you looking at this?
Give me 2 seconds, and I'll answer that question. I'm just
still waiting for everything to catch up.
All the no, it caught up. I just want to get this crunch in so I don't have just my dummy lineup 171 times and then I'll just feel like comfortable, you know?
No, I feel you on that. That is not a good feeling when that happens.
My biggest MME nightmare is missing lock and not having my dummy lineup. That is never even like real players, which I should actually do.
That is legit.
Make like an actual lineup instead of just like boom, boom, boom.
Oh, like an actual dummy team?
Yeah. Because if you miss, that's pretty much what you're getting.
That's like old school now, man.
Yep.
That's like old school.
How many games start at 7 today?
Let's see. 1, just the Pacers game. Then 7:30 and 8.
Nice.
So it's just the Pacers games.
That's ideal.
So like that game, you should already have your exposure set. You know what the deal is there. So that shouldn't it's ready. You know what the deal is. Prioritization. We are the nation.
That echo thing gone?
Yeah.
Good.
What did I just do? All right, okay, I did that. Many men.
What time is the Minnesota game? 8?
Minnesota game. 9.
9.
Said 9.
Okay. Yeah,
He
that's
said
going to be a
9.
post-lock optimization,
Oh,
late swap optimization.
here's a question from Wig. Is Ball still a part of your core? With now that he's not starting anymore?
No.
He just decored his
I
ass.
bumped Blake Griffin in over Ball.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Blake Griffin over Ball.
And
nice question, Wig. Good question.
Yeah, way to reveal the premium content.
It's all good, Wig.
Just joking. My 5 highest are Blake Griffin, Joe Ingles, Miles Turner, Donovan Mitchell, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Paul George, and D'Angelo Russell. I know it's more than 5.
But like,
and obviously Gordon Hayward.
Essentially, with Van Fleet out, we should be heavier on Toronto, right? Like their players in general.
Yeah,
like, we're already
probably
Larry,
should
but
race.
They're all gonna play more. Like
Siakam,
right.
OG, like they're all in great spots.
Right. They're all, and they should play more. It's a back-to-back. Chicago's been a little better this year, a little bit more respectable. I just feel like that's a pretty key player. This year, he's taken a big leap forward. His usage has been higher. Like him being out should be kind of a big deal, you know.
Let me ask you: do you have any interest in Rondae Hollis-Jefferson? Like, they're down a player. I know it's not the same position, but in terms of like their guys who are going to get minutes, he's already been getting them. It's a great spot for bigs, and there's blowout potential. He's cheap as shit.
I mean, yeah, I'll have some like small. Like, I don't mind like small, but really, I'm looking at like Ibaka, like the key guys. Like I just want more of them more than anything else. Powell's another one, right? Like I'll be at around 20% because he's a shooting dependent guy. I just never trust him. They closed last game, and they played Philly, so like it made more sense because they have Horford, right? These guys don't have they have Markkanen, so they don't necessarily need Ibaka. Like it's not like a true big dominant big, so that scares me a little bit. It could be Powell. But I just think that they're better when it's Ibaka at the 4. Like, it's just a personal thing. So, 30s and 7s and 7s and dirties, you know how that goes. We talk about this all the time.
So, like, how heavy are you on the Bulls?
Not that heavy, man. I mean, I get it, but I'm not going to let that. Like, I understand the correlation, but this is more of like, I think the correlation means a little bit more to me if there is no injury boost. Because now I just need everybody to ball out, right? But in this situation, like, it does. I don't know if it makes this game necessarily that much better. It just makes Toronto better, like the players on them, because they're all getting usage bumps and they're priced for Van Fleet to play. So to me, it's just like I don't think like I'm fine with some Bulls, Levine getting exposure, but I'm not going to necessarily raise my exposure to the Bulls just because I'm raising it to Toronto. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm definitely going to upgrade Ibaka. Waka Flocka Ibaka. What does it all mean, Basil? You're right. This is just like we're on the phone. Yeah. Now the nation gets to see what you put up with for the last 30 minutes leading into lock. You get all that good stuff. Let me see if there's any other
10 minutes till lock.
10 minutes till lock and to be ready. Does Fred VanVleet being out bump Lowry over Kemba, or was Lowry already there?
Yeah, I'd say Lowry was already there because I'm concerned about Boston blowing out Cleveland.
Always a concern, and even Gordon Hayward coming back could take away some usage. I'm cool with Kemba. I'm not arguing against Kemba, but it's clearly Lowry is the optimal play. Doesn't mean it's going to go that way, but he's clearly the optimal play.
Are you saying optimal Raptor?
No. I think he was just asking if you liked Lowry more than Kemba. Yeah. So you answered it fine. I just rantitious. You know what I mean? Yeah, that goes. 30s and 7s. Nothing's changing. Yeah. Nothing's changed. It's still 30s and 7s.
Like, from my perspective, I like bigs against the Bulls. So I'm like, I'm going raising the bigs more and, raising the smalls a little less, except for Lowry, because he just correlates with everybody, gets so many assists.
I agree. That's a good point. I think Ibaka and OG are the main guys. And I probably should be even higher on OG. Like, it's a better spot for Ibaka on paper because it doesn't get much better than centers against the Bulls. But OG is, like, the true starter. And, like, he's the one that is going to get his minutes. But, yeah, I'm definitely heavier on the Raptors. More so Lowry and these guys. I'm cool with Siakam, but even him I'm not, like, excessive with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Who's your highest exposed center?
Right now, technically Ibaka. Out if you take him out, it's Capella and Towns.
Capella and Towns, yeah. Capella and Drummond for me, but I feel you.
Yeah.
How much Okafor? If any.
Ooh, that's a good call. I gotta get that in there. I don't. Oh yeah, I gotta put him in here definitely. Man, Drummond is gonna eat this dude's cookies. I gotta get Drummond up here now too. Oof. This is Okafor is gonna be up there. I'm playing him a decent amount. I'm not gonna be stubborn about it. I'll probably play him around.
Yeah.
Man, I guess around 30, and I'll lower Towns to around 20. Wouldn't hurt to be a little spread skis.
Spread skis.
You know how that goes. You know how that goes, nation. You don't want to be spread skis all by your lonesome. It's not what you want to be, nation. What you want to be, nation. Be nation.
7 minutes to lock.
Oh, don't do that to me. The countdown is always horrifying for me, man.
Well, better than missing, right?
No, it's true. It's true. Are you going to stay at like 80 or like should we lower Gordon to 10? Because now this mid tier got even stronger because the value that opened up to us is mid tier value. It's just like OG, Ibaka. Like these are the guys that. And I don't know. But then again, it's 3K. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, bro.
It's more so about like what the field is going to be at. You know, it's like.
Yeah, they're going to be so heavy.
How can you really like? You know, he's just not going to.
He's just not going to.
Like, if he gets a 15, is he in the winning lineup tonight?
He may be.
He probably will. You know, like because he's just going to be in so many lineups.
Right. True. Truisms from Paulie D.
Yeah. Tomorrow I am going to buy a new phone so that I can do this from my phone and have my computer Skype free.
There's no that, bro. Doing it from the phone is hard. Real, like you know, real hard. How hard? Real hard. How hard though? Real hard. How much Okafor you playing?
15.
Plays today for me. The plays today for me. Shout out to those of you who know where that comes from. That means you've been with us for quite a while. You know.
Yeah. Because he hasn't been here, but you know, if you know who that is,
holla.
Let us know in the chat. I would
holla.
Make me happy if people do. For me
today, the plays. Yeah, buddy. Leading you into lock. YouTube world. Those of you still watching YouTube. Is anybody else leading you into lock? I'm curious. Is any other place you've seen that's leading you guys into it?
Yeah, you know, it was like decent news wise, but not even a ton really happened today. You know.
Yeah. Agreed, man. Wasn't even that bad, son. These tweaks with these freaks, yeah. Damn it, what did I do? Stay messing things up. 4 minutes to lock, nation. Well, this is on a delay, so you may even have 3 by the time you get this. But for Paulie, 4 minutes to lock. Minutes to knock. 45 minutes to Broadway. How much OG are you actually playing?
It's like 18-ish.
18.
Again, I'm just really balanced today, you know, and I do like that game, but I like a bunch of games, you know, so I'm trying not to discriminate.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's discrimination. Discrimination is good. For nobody. Nobody. Alright, I think I'm gonna make my first upload. We got 3 minutes, and then I'm gonna try to do one more quick changey. If I can get the changey in, like, it's great. If not, then it is what it is.
Yeah, well, you could do it post, because...
Yeah, on DraftKings, yeah. But for those playing on FanDuel, this is it, man. This is like decision time, you know.
And this is like crunch time.
Literally. You in the crunch. You in the trenches. You in the straight trenches. Boo doo 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 boo doo doo. Damn, son. In high school, you was the man, son. B. I don't like the fact that I have little. These guys.
Trying to get this crunch in before lock.
That's how it's done, son. That's how it's done, son. What you know it. What you know it. Boom, it is off. Is it? How long is your shit still taking like mad long?
Yeah, but I'm alright.
Yeah, you good?
I know what I'm doing.
You know what you're doing, son. You know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Just do it. You know what I mean?
You know I ain't new to this. I ain't true to this.
That's right.
New and true. Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Telling the truth. Telling the truth. 6:59. I need to get like a seconds countdowner so I know if I'm gonna make it. This is gonna be close. Come on.
The clutching 10. And the clickety clutching 10. And they're like swimwear. How we looking? You in?
Almost.
Oh, scheisse. Oh, scheisse. It's a going down. It's a going.
Boom, lock.
And there it is.
There it is.
Just like that, it's lock. Everything should be uploaded. This is when you go back, see exactly what you have, because you're still not quite sure on the smaller exposures. You just know about the guys you have up top, and and lean with it, rock with it. Again, our first time doing this. Hopefully, here we go. In the chat, JTG, yeah, they know who it was. And Wisco, MG, you guys know. Of course you do. Wisco, you work here, bro. It's not even fair. It's not even fair for you to ask that, man. Appreciate those of you who hung out with us. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please hit the like button. This is not something we always do for free, but we're doing it for a little while just to kind of see how people like it and to kind of get some brand awareness out. But Nation, those of you subscribed, those of you in the Slack chat, please give us some feedback. It's the first time we've done it, so regardless of the feedback, we're going to do it a couple more times at least just to kind of feel it out. But let us know what your thoughts are on the show. Let us know,
how we can improve it.
Right.
We're flexible.
Yeah, we're flexible. And on YouTube, even you guys, if you guys have anything you could add, any input, constructive criticism, leave it in the comments. And
Drop sevens.
That's it. Sevens and dirties, like we always say. If you're on DraftKings, your night's probably not over because injury news may come out. You may have to swap. If you're on FanDuel, sit back, chill, enjoy the family, whatever. Smoke the rocks, whatever that means, and do dirties. Paulie, anything in closing for the nation before we get up out of here?
No, good luck tonight. We'll catch you tomorrow.
That's it for Paulie D, for myself, the entire WiseTake Nation. As always, good luck.
Peace.